Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Abundology podcast and the Heart Sing podcast. I am here with my friend, one of my favorite people on the planet, Addie Beall, and she is the host of the Heart Sing podcast. And I don't know when it was, last year, I guess, we did a podcast where we both recorded it and posted it separately. So we're doing that again because we're both starting something new, and these are big new things for us. Addie, welcome. And I want to skip right into this. You're manifesting $1 million.
I know. That sounds crazy when you say it out loud. It's still like, I just keep saying it as much as possible to make it my reality now, and thank you for such a beautiful intro. You, of course, are one of my favorite people on the planet, which is why you're such a key part of this abundance journey I'm on. And I've been working on this with you for well over a year. I can't believe I'm sitting here saying to you, I'm going to create $1 million now, and watching you, what you're going to manifest next. Very exciting. Are you going to tell everyone that too?
I am manifesting love. I am finding the one. So I have been single over a decade, like a long, long time. So I am finally ready to take that step and find a partner.
This is so exciting. I know. And I was thinking, I'm like, I know I'm going to get on this podcast. And I already told you, I don't have time for love, Renee. And I'm going to leave this and I'm going to be like going to manifest love with you. Because like, if I want to manifest love with anybody, it's going to be with you, right?
Aww.
Like that would be so fun.
Totally.
It just sounds like so much fun, but so is making money too. And I'm like, okay, stay in your lane, Addie, stay in your lane. But yeah, so
we're both starting these big things, big new things. And I know there are people out there similar to us that want to attract money, love, maybe a new job, buy a house, all the big things. And people just don't know where to start. So where have you started, Addie?
Well, and you didn't say the big one, which is where I started for me, which is the weight loss, which was like my portal into really this manifestation world, because I created it through my future self, through like coming from that aspect versus all the diets and all of those things. It was a totally spiritual journey. So that is like my portal into, and now it's about money, which is like when that came out of my plan and my guides this quarter, I was like, what, because I was like, no, you've got to stay focused on this goal until you're like all the way there. It was like, nope, now it's time to shift it into the money. And in this, because I'm like 20 pounds away, you guys, I've lost 130 pounds through creating my next future self. Right. And so they're like, all the signs are in your quest for this $1 million. You will, that last 20 just is like, that is just part of me having to step fully into this next version. I was playing a little small because I've done a lot of growing, and it's like, this is going to force me into that, the last buffering moments I have left, right? Like when I'm in flow and creating, I'm not eating, and so things like that, I think they go so much more hand in hand than we think, Renee, right?
Yes.
So so that's why I'm here. I mean, I'm curious for you, after 10 years of being single, why love now?
Well, I've said, I'd love to meet somebody in the past, but half-assed. Let's be real. I love that, but also I love sleeping in the middle of my king-size bed. I love my single life. It's wonderful. And there was something about when I moved to Montana, I knew my person was in Montana, and I wanted to give myself a year to establish my life. I didn't want to jump into somebody else's life, but now I have friends, and now I have my fly fishing, now I have my dog play group, all that fun stuff. And it just may be true for you too. It's just intuitively the time.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's how I know it's not like intuitively my time for love, which is why I was curious about how you knew after all this time being single myself, and being so happy right where I'm at, that I'm like on the love,
yes,
but money, right? The money excites me. And it's like getting excited. Like I used to be excited about that weight loss goal. I would get excited thinking about that version of me that could just walk by food and it not be like a national event. Like I must have those French fries on the table or whatever, like those kind of things. So yeah, this is going to be so interesting watching us do this parallel journeys, and yet seemingly so separate, you guys, but totally the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I know you were doing your planning at one of your camps, and you do your planning session quarterly, which I love to show up and do my little mini readings at those. Is that where this idea intuitively came to you, or?
Honestly, yes, but it started to brew actually last year. But how you said like it wasn't right or vibration, like I wasn't all in on it, right? Like I wrote I was going to make $1 million in my business, and I actually went and joined like Brooke Castillo's a life coach school because she had this create $1 million, and it just and I know I was coaching with you at the time, and it felt hard. It felt like I wasn't like I was excited about the idea, but I was confused and conflicted, and this time, like doing all the big dreaming we do at my event and my planning camp and all of that, it started to rise again. But yet I had this little voice in the back of my head, oh no, you're not to your weight loss goal. Yeah, you still got, the nuggets are in the 162. Well, I take myself, and because I'm leading the process, I don't like do the work with everybody at the time, because I'm like energetically sharing in my space. So I take myself off to a resort. I go to this resort and I make myself sit there for 5 hours, and I dream and I let it come, and I like sit there and flow, and I just let it come through me. And when I left that 5 hours with myself of dreaming and creating and plotting and planning, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to create $1 million from energy, from friggin' energy. Like that's amazing, right? Like to prove to myself doing less is more, like less in the aspect of I'm going to spend more of my 3D time in energy, in working on gratitude, in working on meditation techniques, in working on creating from this field of energy, So did I answer what question?
Yes, you did.
What about you?
Well, it has been on my mind for a while. And for me, the start of any of my manifesting, anything that happens in my life, is the commitment to myself. Like that is the thing. So I wasn't fully committed to myself. And I don't let myself down. I don't break promises to myself. So if I'm going to do this, I got to get all in. I have to be all in, committed to myself that I am doing that. And I hadn't been there up until now. So yeah, that's where I start of like, I am doing this. And I say this often to my clients because there's a lot of, I hope I meet somebody. And then there's, I'm meeting somebody, 2 different energies. And I had to get myself from, I hope I meet somebody to, I am meeting somebody with that commitment.
So what does that commitment look like for you? Because I know how it shows up in my world for me, like with my, me and my intentional and my planning and like that whole process I created. So I know like how I show up. What does it look like for you when you made that shift? What starts to happen differently?
Well, I feel more alive. And I think anybody listening to this can see that both of us are lit up.
Yeah.
Like life is, I have a great life, as you know, fabulous life.
You do.
And what was the next thing? What was the next thing? And this just happened to be it. And so there's something about reaching the place where you want to be. Yeah. And then what? So I have reached the place where I wanted to be. I love it here. I love my job. I love all the things. And now what? I want to feel alive. I want to create my life for the rest of my life.
Yes. And what's so funny is as I was sitting here thinking and manifesting, I looked around and like, I'm working on being grateful for everything now too. Right. And so my little RV, if you guys are just listening in for the first time, what I manifested and created last time was leaving corporate America, buying an RV, traveling the country. Like this was my dream. And then it became less shiny. Right. And like, just like you're talking about, it was like a seeking for that next, what's going to lighten me, what's going to, be that thing that like lights my fire again. And I think so many of the women I work with are always looking for this, like, what is that thing that is going to light my fire? Right. Like how, and so I know I've started to take people through this process of, the dreaming and the visioning, and like, because we don't remember how to dream, and you're a part of that plan. Like when people are ready, I'm like, okay, you need to go see Renee, right? Like, not that you listeners out there, like you just dive in, but like sometimes people that will make it to me are like, okay, what's it like? They don't even seek help outside themselves. So that concept is new. So I guess my question in here for you is like, how do you go through that? Oh God, I lost my train of thought, Renee. Did you know where I was going with that at all?
Let me read your mind. Yes.
I know you totally can though.
So I have to say, once I'm committed, I'm doing it. It's in my mind, it's done deal. So then I'm approaching it from the end. All right, this is done deal. I've met the person. I've met my guy. So I'm going to do every single thing that I know that works for me to align my energy with that end goal. So, and with dating, with finding love, there's many ways you can do that. There is the online app way. Anytime you're putting energy out, you're shifting over into that different vibe. That is not my way. I'm aware of that. I am not an online app person, but you know what I do want to do? I want to use visualizing, meditation, affirmations, feng shui, crystals, you name it, all of that stuff. And so that's where my plan starts. And I also know doing it with a group of people really amps up that energy. So if I'm going to be successful, which I am because I've committed it to myself, then I'm going to give myself all the tools and do all the things that I need to align my energy with that end goal.
So it's so funny. We're so parallel. Like I wrote, okay, what are all the things I'm doing? And you and I talk a lot, but we don't talk about logistics of like this type of stuff, you guys, really. Like, I just come and dump on Renee and say, all right, like, what are my guides saying? And we're like, all right, bada bing, bada boom. But like same type of thing, right? Like, I was like, I don't want to, because I could attack $1 million creating from making all the things, right? Like you with dating, you can go pick an app. I can go like, learn how to build a better funnel, or like join another, like all of these things that I've already honestly been doing, like to educate myself for like what I do in my business. Or I could create from energy, which sounds a hell of a lot more fun to me, right?
Doesn't it? Yes.
Yes. And I just kept proving to myself, like, money will just come. And so the more I started showing myself that, I've been an entrepreneur out here with really like the skin off my back when I came out here, right? Like, I mean, it was, I'm a jumper, right? Like I'll jump, I'll admit that. But it was like also done with a lot more intention this time. And since I've been working with you on my abundance and money mindset, it was really about creating intentionally, because you'd say, oh, that's great, Addie, you can manifest free trips all over the place, all of this stuff. Why don't you try manifesting the money? And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the money. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea of creating from this energy. So I'm doing these things. I started the money journal, like we've learned in your classes and with your 28 days of money, which I know you generously put out there on YouTube. People can go do that for free, right?
Yep.
And then I started a group also, right? So I started my little abundance circle, and we're kicking off the magic this month, where it's already so much fun. I left this place of feeling like a big turd this morning, like literally like a big piece of shit. And I left my gratitude practice and the me first practice, like just ready to set the world on fire, and then I'm doing my journaling, my magic pages, meditation, nature, and just forcing myself, old corporate Addie, because you've got old corporate Renee too. Old corporate Addie wants to sit down and do all the work, right? Like get in there, which is why I felt like crap this morning, because I started to get into the social before I took care of my thing. So my promise to myself, Renee, is that I am doing these things every day, even if it doesn't happen till 1 for some reason. I'm like forcing myself to go. And I know this, which is why I created the me first, like me first in the morning, So when you're looking for love, Oh my gosh, like this is so fun, right? Like, so you're not doing a dating app. So like, where do you go? Like I'm going to law of attraction, abundance books, stuff like that. Like what does that look like?
Same thing. We are using the group that of women that I'm doing this with, and there'll be 8 of us, so we can like manifest, amp our power up. But we're using the book Calling in the One, and it's a 7-week program, so to speak. And each day of the week, there's a different activity to do in there. Some of the things are affirmations. Some of the things are, looking at patterns in your relationships. Some of the things are visualizations. Every day there's some type of activity to do. And then of course I'm mixing in, some of the things that I know too into the whole mix. Yeah, but it's daily. And as we know, that energy in that person, that $1 million Addie already exists. We're right. Just the Renee who has found the one already exists. We're just matching up our energy to that version of ourselves.
Right.
And so that's what this work is for me, is just to shift my energy over there.
Yeah.
And that does take some effort and energy and time to do that. Now, not really. If we were ultra masters at doing this, we could do it like that, but we're not. We're human. So we get to have the fun journey of getting ourselves there. And that to me is the being alive part.
Yes. Exactly. And that's the part that takes us through, like of course, the book, The Magic, that I'm doing that's a daily process too, right? So every day you're like doing a different activity. And what I do love that, how it's different. It's kind of surprising along the way, right? Like I'm going to repeat it with this group, but I'm like so excited. I feel like I could repeat it like all year. And there's certain things that I think I'll pick up and take. And I imagine might be with the book, with the activities you guys are going to do. You're going to find ones that sing to you and like you find really work for you, but you only do that through trying.
Right.
And that I think is my message to everybody out there, that like, you don't know what you want, or you don't know like what lights your fire. Like you got to start trying different things. Like where do you think is the best place for people to start that?
I think maybe admitting to ourselves what we really want.
Yes.
Because all of us have those limiting beliefs. They popped up for me. I've had 2 great loves in my life. Maybe it's not in the stars that I have a third. The limiting beliefs are there. Let's be real. Or, maybe I'm always going to weigh 220 pounds. Maybe I'm always going to be living paycheck to paycheck. But you know what? If we really go deep, F that. I can find love the third time. We can weigh whatever our goal weight is. We can make $1 million. It's just being brave enough, I think, brave enough to admit that we want it, and then being able to commit to it and shift.
Right. And to be able to make that space to shift, right? Like if we're like to see those limiting beliefs. I'm at the point now, like my spirit guides so kindly told me a couple of weeks ago, that to just whack-a-mole that shit. They were like, you see a limiting belief, you just, and I'm like, oh, whack-a-mole, right? Like, so, but it took a lot of practice to get to that point where I can whack-a-mole. It took a lot of awareness. It's taken a lot of writing and coaching and awareness of self, and like a desire. Like once I spoke and said, I want $1 million, and I'm telling the world I'm going to create this. Like, don't ask me why that's my number. I really don't know, but it excites me, right? Like, I was like, you know what? I'm really going to do this. And it was a shift from that time last time, right? And so I think I'm ready now for those limiting beliefs around money. And then we have, like you're saying, the limiting beliefs around, the weight, or, seeing those things come up. And it's that rewiring process and learning. So when you're starting, like really increasing that awareness of self, for me, meditation, Renee, I really think if I hadn't found meditation first, you and I wouldn't even be having this conversation, like honestly, which is why I teach it now, and because it's just, I think so key. Like, I just want to take just sit still, dude. Like sit still with yourself, because the answer of what you want
Now, isn't that the truth about the busyness keeping you from being present, even considering that these are options that you have in your life? Yeah, you can't
Yep.
even, your mind can't even get there unless you sit still and be.
Yeah. Yeah, I see so many people, that are so caught up in all the doing, and I see myself. Okay, talking about myself here, right? Like, so we get so caught up in the doing that it's like when in the stillness is the answer is there. Like even this morning, for example, I'm going to give you guys a quick example of this. Before I went off to do my gratitude practice and made myself go to the coffee shop, it was, wanting to do all the things and, not taking, and I was going to fix the hubs and do all of this stuff. Meanwhile, I go off, I be still, I do my gratitude, I think about something else, I get connected to my true self. And the answer was so much easier. Oh, just put it all in the one you already have. Like technically, like it just like the solutions came to me so much easier. And that's a gift from the universe. That's a gift from my connection to myself and my taking my time. But it takes so much self-discipline, like at the beginning, especially to train yourself to go do those things for yourself first, because your mind that is in the masculine energy of the world that we both were in the business world, right? And probably a good portion of you guys listening out there in this world of do is what brings you success, where the answers being such a quick, like you're talking about that energy and the vibration. Like if I can just dial into that vibration, the universe is going to bring it to you and surprise you.
Yes. And, I found myself, I know we've talked about this before, but it applies now. I found myself because, and I'm going to say I am a lazy person, and I mean that in a positive way. I love a slow life. I love living like that. And so for me, keeping myself in the flow with like my morning spiritual practice, my evening spiritual practice, it saves me so much time because all I got to do is be, and I intuitively get the answers. So I don't have to spend 4 hours researching the pros and cons of what something is. I just know.
Yes. And it's like, and I think when you first start doing this, you guys, it feels counterintuitive because we've spent 50 years of our lives doing it the other way.
Yeah.
And so it's like giving yourself time to retrain all those old limiting beliefs in the mind. And it's like, I think that's where we get frustrated because everything's the quick pill. Like back to, I don't know why Fen came to mind, but I remember this diet pill back in like,
oh, I remember that pill. Yes.
That was like killing people eventually. But like, it was like you take this pill and it was basically speed, like it was like prescription speed. You take this pill and you get thin. Like we want the get thin fast. We want the get rich fast, which is great. But there's that process of allowing yourself to just be connected to yourself, and it will come to you what you even want. Did I even loop back? I don't know.
Well, part of this that I love, one, I love the feeling of feeling alive. Like, there's something I want and I'm going to get it. I love that. What the part that I really like though is the journey. So we so often, focus on when we get the $1 million, when I meet the dude, that being the thing. I'm so excited about doing this with a group of women that I'm sure are going to become super great friends for me. I'm excited about learning things about myself, whack-a-moling my limiting beliefs, and growing as a person. Already, just since I made this commitment to myself, I cannot believe the love that has shown up. I randomly have been getting presents in the mail, and they're all like heart things or love things, a heart crystal, a little love box, randomly. It's randomly,
Right. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, randomly. You put out there, you give love, you get love, right? You give money, you get money, or you give gratitude, you receive abundance. And whatever that symbol of abundance is back to you, abundance of love, abundance of money, abundance of, and what I'm finding with the abundance is also my weight loss journey. Like I feel more satisfied just in my body. I'm not wanting to eat. It's having that effect in that area too. like all of those things coming together. And yes, not doing it alone. You said, doing it with the group, which is how I did the weight loss and how I'm doing the money. So I've manifested. I haven't told you this yet. I increased my income last month by 62%.
Way to go.
I know. And I'm like, I didn't launch. I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, oh, I stayed in gratitude. Right? Like literally, you guys. And like, it's just like, Renee knows, like, people can't even find me to give me money. Right? Like, she's like, would you put a button, open a portal? I'm like, okay, I'm opening portals. But like, I'm like, I've just been like giving and receiving and being in this vibration of this energy, and the goal itself just gives me something to think about, to bring up those limiting beliefs, really, in truth. Like, because the goal itself is, it could be 500,000, it could be 200, like, it's kind of like that number itself is a little irrelevant, when it's just about the energy. I mean, I wanted to show, also it excites me because, like, weight loss, it's something I can show. I'm like a number, which is exciting. It's like, I can show I'm going to fail. Like, how many failures to $1 million? Right. Or how quickly can I dial into that frequency and limit my amount of failures are needed? Right. Like, I'm going to start a failure counting book, because that gets exciting. Every date you go on that doesn't work, you're just one date closer to the guy coming. Right. Yeah. Like, or whatever that next step is.
Well, and if my commitment to myself is I'm finding the one, I'm not going to fail. So I'm going to do every possible thing to succeed. And the number one thing would be, how do I amp up my energy? I do it with a group of people. That's just simple. The more people you have focusing on the same goal, the more powerful you are. So easy peasy, starting a group. Mine starts in about a week. There'll be 8 of us. So I'm excited about that. And we'll be going through that book each day, doing a different thing, a visualization, a meditation. I know there's a couple affirmations that I'm already in love with. I'm open to receiving all the love in the universe. I'm open to giving all the love in the universe. Looking at those limiting beliefs that we have, and then enjoying the journey. It's that whole dorky thing that it's not the destination, it's the journey, that whole.
Yes.
It's so true. Well,
I find it interesting. You don't think you're going to fail at anything, though. Tell me about that.
Because when you commit to yourself that you're going to do something, I don't let myself down.
Yeah, but I mean, there's going to be things that don't work. So maybe we have a different definition.
Oh, yeah.
Because I spend a lot of time retraining people's brains around failing is good. Like, failing is what gets you to that thing. It doesn't work. You try something different. It doesn't, right? Like, if that's not the activity, or that's not how you didn't dial into the frequency that time, I'm going to shift something in my energy. I'm going to shift something in how I show up in the world. So just trying something different. So maybe we need different language for you around that.
I don't think of that as failing. I think of that as just part of the process.
Right. But so many people will give up when they don't get that result they want.
Yeah.
Right. Like, because they won't keep showing up because the scale is up a number, or I didn't hit my money goal. Right. And so even though I'm showing up and I'm committed, right, like I'm going all in, but my belief isn't quite where my wanting is yet. And that's okay too. Right. But like, to dial into that, it's like, God, I think it was Gay Hendricks I heard say about the airplane, and I might have told, I don't know. I hope I didn't talk about on your podcast about this already, but he talks about taking the plane from Maui to LA and it being on autopilot, and it's constant readjustment, like, it's never flying in a straight line. It's always like readjusting itself. And that's how our journeys are when we're even manifesting something. I'm like, okay, that doesn't keep me in the vibration. I'm going to change and do this thing over here that makes my heart sing, right? Like, I'm going to go to the mountain instead of to kickboxing, or like what those things are for you. And because you haven't yet manifested, it's like the unknown, like, he's not here yet. So you're probably going to go on some dates. Maybe You might not, but you might go on some dates that don't work. And Renee's like, that's not happening. I'm not even putting it in the universe. But that it doesn't mean it's a failure. That's just part of the journey. And it's part of something you enjoy. Maybe you meet a person that doesn't end up being the one, that ends up being like your best friend in another way. Right?
Totally.
Like, or the universe brings you that piece of the puzzle because his best friend is like whatever, right? But there's a lot of people out there that I think would maybe coin that, like, oh, okay, I'm giving up, right? Like,
yeah, I would never think of it like that. I would just think of it as like, oh, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. So and that's why I love the process, the magic book you're doing, and then the calling in the one book that I'm doing, because some of the things really resonate with me. They are my things. The other things, okay, that's not my thing. I don't think of myself as a failure or me failing at the activity. It's just not my activity.
Right.
So both of what we're really doing here, Addie, is learning about ourselves on a deeper level. That's really what this is what's doing.
Isn't that what like all goal achievement is about, right? Like it's taken it to that deeper level. Yeah. Totally. Well, I, for one, now look forward to my failures, and I call them failures because I just want to like normalize my language around that for the people I work with, Renee, which is a different group than might be listening, you know, but anyhow, what I wanted to ask you about, love. So you're doing For the Love of Money, and you've got your group. And so you guys will be meeting and sharing energy space around finding love, right? So everyone in the group is going to be seeking their partner.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, I'm going to change language since we're on language. Finding their partner.
So, and curious with that, maybe like if they're already in a relationship that isn't like they want it.
I don't know. I've set really clear intentions about who is coming to this group. So if you're listening and you feel like, oh, this is my group, then that is an intention I set for you. But people that are serious about this, that this is their time. So if you're in another relationship right now, this is not the group for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you needed some time for yourself to make a commitment. I don't think the right way to start the next relationship would be to immediately, while the one you're still in, jump into another one. That doesn't feel like a healthy way to do it. Who am I to say? But I don't know.
I meant that's really funny, but like I meant like maybe bettering their current relationship.
Yeah,
but
this is not that.
It's totally like bringing in new love.
Yeah, like calling in your one. Yes,
I'm so excited. Oh my God. Okay, so 7 weeks. So like I know time doesn't work linearly, but like, what do you think that's going to, like, I put a date on mine, right? Like I'm going to make $1 million in a year, like just because like, you know, a date on a dream becomes a goal, right? Like, and it gives me something to move toward. Do you have like a timeline?
I don't have a timeline, and I'm well aware of that, and I've thought about that a lot. Do I want one by Valentine's Day? Do I want by my birthday? And you know what? I'm just in it. I'm in it for whatever the divine timing brings me. Yeah. So if it takes a year, it takes a year. Honestly, I'm pretty good at manifesting shit. So
I know you are.
So I think it'll probably be sooner than that. You know, what is really cool about doing it with a group of people too, is when somebody in the group finds their one, that means the rest of us are just that much closer, you know, because we're all vibing at that same energy. So if they find their one, then that means my one is just right around the corner, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so exciting. It's really interesting to do that with love. Yeah. You know, like finding a partner. I love that, in the power of the group together, you know? Yeah. So, we're just getting started in my group too, like with the abundance. And it's been really interesting to see some of the resistance to some of us picking a number. And I had wrestled with it myself, like that when we talked about daring to say what we want. Like, what would you truly want? And I think I had landed in Law of Attraction or somewhere in there where Abraham was saying, you humans, basically, right? Like, I'm going to slayerize it, but you don't say what you want. because you don't think you can have it. Right?
Yes.
Like you don't think you can have it, or you would say what you want. Like, what is that number you would say? If I could have however much money I want, you don't friggin' say it because you think you can't have it. And I'm like, so like we're all having these conversations and they'll start at like 250,000 and like young Jedi, now she's up to like 17 million or something, you know? And I'm like, yes, like what would it be that would like, if you could say it, it's like, okay, people setting a weight loss goal, kind of the same thing. They'll pick a number that is safe because they don't dare to think they could get to that dream number because they failed over and over again trying to get there and don't believe in themselves enough, like clearly you do about love and everything. And I do about the million. I know I'm getting to $1 million. You know what I mean? And listen, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen in a year, but if it takes me longer, I'm not like crying about it. Look, I'm so happy that it's taken me 4 years to lose 130 pounds. I wouldn't change a single friggin' minute of it. Would you change a minute of it if you're sitting there listening? Like whatever that big goal is, like if when you get there, it's just like keeping it in sight and keeping moving toward it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And look at us. Look how I don't remember the last time I felt so alive.
Yes.
You know, and that isn't that what it's really about here, is this like this feeling like, what's the universe going to bring me today? What magic love package yes. is going to show up today? You know, am I meeting him today?
Yes. I got one sitting in the coffee shop. I'm sitting there kind of like I hadn't started the practice today was being thankful for I shouldn't have like air this one here, but like, so anyhow, I'm like sitting there in gratitude and Millie's dad calls me and is like, one of my things I'm manifesting is seeing Millie six times a year. He's like, well, you can add another time. We're coming in March. And I'm like, oh yeah, buddy, look, just sitting there in gratitude. I got another time I'm getting to see my little one, you know, like just sitting like surprises all over. Trip to Hawaii. I'm going again. I'm going for my 50th birthday, November 29th. I'll be there over Thanksgiving. I'm like, where do I want to be? I want to be squeezing Millie. And it's like the universe just keeps like when I'm in this vibe, like you said, what's going to come today?
Yeah. And we have to keep in mind whenever you're raising your vibe, it's not just about, you're not just raising your money vibe, you're raising your whole vibe. So everything increases, everything grows. Same with love. I make more money. I'm making more money now that I'm attracting love. I'll take it all day long. Poor me. Love and money.
This is really interesting to ask you. Are you seeing, and you might have alluded to this earlier, but I'm feeling this really calling to clean my space and get ready to move and like all of that stuff. It's like deep, right? Like, what does that show up like for love? Like, has that
similar? You know, okay. I spent yesterday cleaning my house, cleaning my closet. I need to make space for the person to have clothes. So I felt good getting rid of things to make space for the new person.
Wow. Yeah. And a toothbrush drawer.
Oh, yeah. I haven't got to the toothbrush drawer yet. That's this week. Yes. Well,
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Well, let's wrap this up. Let me give you my words of wisdom to people, and then you give me yours. So mine would be brave enough to admit to yourself what you really want, what your heart really wants. And then once you do that, commit to yourself. Commit it to yourself. I am doing this. And then get your plan in place. What are all the ways that you are going to shift your energy from where you are now to where you need to be when you achieve that goal, when you achieve the thing? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Multiple ways. You can do many ways, so many ways. Choose the ways that light you up. Dating app doesn't light me up. Visualizing and feng shuiing and crystals lights me up.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in all of what you just said. It's almost hard for me to uniquely say my own, other than I will say this: if like you don't even know where to begin on it, that's really what I do. Right. Like, because like, and Renee and I talk about this all the time. We work in tandem so much because I help women dream again is what I call myself a future self guide now. I don't know if I told you my new title, Renee, but
I love it. Future self guide.
Future self guide, because I am really good at helping people dream and visualize and stuff like that. And to me, when you say visualization, I think that stops people from you don't know what you want. If you're out there listening and you're like, oh, but I don't know what I want. This is where it starts, is with the vision, with the daring to dream. And we don't know how to dream anymore. We've spent 50 years of our lives dreaming for everybody else. And so you forget how to dream for yourself. And so many of us don't even know how to make a plan. We'll spend all year planning for vacation, but not for our lives. Right. And so I can help you with that part of it. If you're sitting there and you're in overwhelm, just go to addiebeall.com, be all you can be, Renee. And
I've never
ADDIE. I know. Listen, because that's what I'm on this planet for, I think, is to help people that were like me, and wherever you're at in your quest. For me, it was a 300-pound ball of misery. But if you don't know how to dream, you don't know how to say what you want. I got you, sister. Right. And then when you're ready to hear the wisdom, right. And seek the love, right. Renee, I just don't know what to say. I don't know if those were words of wisdom, you guys, other than dream, get up and play big, dream small, right. I'm not going to belittle anyone's dreams out there, but trust me, if you're not feeling lit up like this, you just got to dream bigger. That's all.
There we go. If you're not lit up like this, dream bigger. I will.
Too much energy. You're like, all right, I got to get off this pod. Just dream bigger, which isn't it. That's all.
I will put a link to Addie's website, addiebeall.com, in the show notes. Also to my, it's called Women's Power Circle, Calling in the One. So I will put a link to that if you're interested in that, and also my website in the show notes too. Thank you so much, Addie. I love talking with you. Our conversations are always fabulous.
Thank you, Renee. And if you're listening on my podcast, I will put the same in the show notes for Renee, so you can get in touch. And you guys, we didn't talk about it, but Renee is also a spirit guide channeler, and she is mine. And it's just magic when you get to meet with Renee. So you can also do that with her. So I check the show notes for all of that, you guys.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Renee.
Thank you.
Bye.